All right, is there a motion to open the public meeting of the Holyoke Planning Board?
So moved.
Second,
All in favor?
By roll call vote, Lauren,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Mimi,
Yes.
Brander,
yes.
and Rosanna.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, we continued the Superfresh sign size, so we don't have to take that up. Next up on our agenda is a special permit for the Stop and Shop increase in size. And I think that we have a draft for that.
There should be, yes.
I'm gonna be checking. Notice. No, I gotta do it by topic. Okay, Stop and Shop.
Yep.
Yep. And decision. I lost it, hold on. Okay. Talk to me.
Well, I think there's, I suspect, very little question about how we are going to vote on this.
I can't make changes. Oh, I can.
You know, we can adjust this tomorrow too. I just always want, again, I draft drafts for the board. I never want to give the impression that I'm approving and denying, so I include both. But I mean, we can also change the majority of this stuff
Yeah,
at another time. So, I mean, I think primarily the findings and
Yeah.
the decision would be the most important items for review. Again, some of these responses are responses that were borrowed from other similar approvals.
Can we just fix number 1? It just doesn't have verb agreement. The proposed sign sizes appropriately advertise and support.
Yep.
Supports or support?
Sizes support. So it's singular, yeah. I mean, it's plural without the S. It's late night, sorry.
yeah. The thing is, this is just a plain vanilla. They're barely even changing anything.
Right. And the only other new item that we're adding is number 4, because that's, Turley is our new publication source or publication or advertiser. And we recently found that there was site variances and whatnot that the applicants never paid for, but later we got billed for. So at this point, we're just asking, and the board can say no to this condition as well. But it's just something that I think will help protect us from having to pay people's advertising bills in the future.
Yeah, no, it seems to me that we voted at a previous meeting to make that an automatic condition.
Okay.
Because
Okay,
it's been an
wonderful. Thank
ongoing
you.
problem.
This looks good to me. I'll propose that we approve the special permit for an increase in sign size at Stop and Shop.
Is there a second?
Second,
Uh, Okay,
All in favor?
Lauren,
yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Bernander,
Yes.
Rosanna,
Yes, ma'am.
and Mimi.
Yes.
Jeff, just heads up right over here. This is like some bad grammar right here.
Yeah, it was probably bad copy and
Okay,
paste.
just heads
Yeah.
up. Okay, so that's done. Okay.
Okay. So next are the special permits for the Holyoke Housing Authority. And might as well start with the dimensional regulation.
Which one are we doing? I'm sorry, Holyoke Housing?
Holyoke Housing, and
Yeah.
actually, whichever one you find first.
Holyoke Housing, South Maple? Or no? Why does it say Maple there, not Chestnut?
No, Chestnut is what we've got.
Oh, okay.
354 Chestnut.
Yeah, I just see, hold on, let me just go back up and make sure that I'm in the right folder. 3 Holyoke Housing special permits.
Yep.
Okay. Notice of
We,
decisions.
can we also do their A&R sort of right afterwards, just so we keep our brains in that space?
Sure.
Okay.
Want me to find it? It's
No,
it's
I
right.
got it. I
Oh,
got
okay,
it.
sorry.
Yeah, I just got the special permit the dimensional regulations, UMass. Are they all connected together? That's the only one I found so far was the dimensional regulations.
Each one of them was a separate public hearing, so there's a separate folder in the
Okay,
drive for.
so we're gonna start with this one. And you wanna go right to this.
Yeah, right to the findings.
Yep.
You know, I think because I wanted to hear their clarification this evening. So some of these might be tailored a bit because to their own admission, they were only seeking it. Their application didn't say just to the 45 foot. It just said dimensional variation. So we might be able to kind of tailor this a bit to further, state that the parcel reduction down to 45 feet in frontage width, or however you want to say that.
And that would probably be condition 4.
Yeah.
It's a consistent with the proposed reduction. I'm sorry.
Oh, consistent with,
Proposed
okay.
reduction from dimensional regulations is consistent with the parcel sizes of the existing housing. And allows for desirable infill.
Oh, put that at the very end, Sharon, because the existing housing runs nicely into in this urban neighborhood and nearby Churchill homes.
Where do you want me to put this and allows for
Put that at the
desirable?
end of the sentence. Thanks.
Okay.
I think, Jeff, you were suggesting that we should call out that it's specifically just the frontage, right?
Yes.
So maybe just start number 4 with this proposed reduction in frontage
That sounds.
requirements. Instead of dimensional regulations.
Yeah, that looks good.
So get rid of,
Yeah, you can get rid of the
The
from the
from.
dimensional regulations. Just to specify. I think this is fine at this point.
I agree.
I'll propose that we approve the special permit for dimensional regulation variance for Holyoke Housing Authority.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
by roll call vote, Lauren,
Yep.
Kate,
Yes.
Verninder,
Yes.
Rosanna,
Yes, ma'am.
and me.
Yes.
Okay, let's see if I can find that other one.
It should be right in the next folder down.
Well, where's 884? Is that part of this?
Yes.
Okay, 884.
I think we just did 8-8.
We just did 8-4. So it'd be number, so you
Oh.
see the ones that all start with 3. It's HHASP 4632, HHASP 617.
Okay, 88461. Okay, so I don't know what I just changed.
You just change 884.
Okay. So I think I was doing dimensional regulations.
Which that's 884
Okay, oh, okay.
for dimensional variation.
Application hearing notice. I see no notice of decision in this particular file.
Which folder are you in?
617.
There should be.
South
NOD.
Maple.
It's right there.
I'm on A&R,
No-
884.
Oh, I thought you were doing the other special permits.
Yeah. Holyoke Housing, South Maple. Nope, it's Chestnut. I see South Maple on these tabs.
No,
I
because if you
know.
go right to, if you're in the 4.8 folder, go to the 2025-0448 folder PB material.
Yep,
And then
okay,
under that, you'll see South 3 HHASP section 4632.
yep.
Then right in that folder, you'll see 2025-048 NOD.
And there's only one. It's the Chestnut Street.
Right.
That I just seen, no? That's not the one I just did? Yes,
You did.
that's the
I
one
thought
I
you
just
did the one that was for the,
No, this was dimensional regulations.
no, that was parking reduction.
No,
So you've got one, the 4632 is a fence, the 617 is parking reduction, the 884 was the dimensional variation.
okay, I have no other ones, Jeff, in this folder. Sorry.
Not in this, it's okay. I don't know how else to explain it.
Well, I went to the, as you had
If you
said.
go back to the, I'm sorry, I don't,
No,
you
I
know,
understand, I understand.
if you go back to the one that has the super fresh, number 1 super fresh.
Number one.
If you go to the 2025-0408 folder,
Planning board materials.
yes,
Yep.
under that, see where it says 1 super fresh.
Yep,
Then it says 2 Stop and Shop.
I'll go over there.
And then it says
Oh.
3 HHA, 3 HHA, 3
Okay.
HHA.
Okay, well, the first one that we did was a dimensional regulation, so I don't know if that changes what the board wants to do in that one.
But that was 884.
Okay, so now I'm gonna do 4632.
Correct.
All right, I'm following your process.
So when you open up 4632, you're gonna see NOD right there.
Got it?
Maybe you should start doing this more often, Sharon.
You bet.
Well, this is.
We
I
miss
hate it.
you.
I miss you guys.
Yes. Well, we miss you.
All right, this is fence.
Okay. And I see no problem with these findings.
I move that we approve the special permit for, wait, this is the increase
the
in fence
construction.
height.
Fence.
Yep.
Now I got you. mixed up.
Anyway,
There's-
I make that motion.
Okay. Once more, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Lauren,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Bernander,
Yes.
Rosanna,
Yes, ma'am.
and Mimi.
Yes.
Okay, now should be able to.
So we have one left, 617.
Oh. There it is. Why don't you tell me this before, Jeff?
Well, I thought I spelled it out pretty easily.
I was looking in one folder for all of them.
Right.
All right, this is the reduction in parking. Does this need to say what's
Are
required
you going to
versus?
share it?
Oh, so I'm looking at it, I'm reading it, I'm so
Yeah. Oh.
It's a strangely long night for how little time it's been.
sorry. I was reading it, I was all set.
Again, it's pretty much just,
Yeah.
standard content from,
Yes, it's the same thing that we've now drafted for 3 or 4 other applications.
A move that we approve the special permit for parking reduction for Holyoke Housing Authority.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Lauren
Yes.
and Kate,
Yes.
Bernander,
Yes.
Rosanna,
Yes, ma'am.
and Mimi.
Yes. Yeah, Kate, I bet you're about to say what I was about to say. You say it.
Well, right. So I was going to say, I see that Alan's here, so we should go to him as soon as we can. But maybe before we do that, if it's okay with you, Mimi, could we check back in with the 37 Appleton folks and see what they want to do, and then they can leave?
I think that's extremely reasonable.
Great, thank you. So I did have a conversation with Leon and Neil Bernash, and I guess we would respectfully request to table the A&R until the May 13th meeting. Just, we're gonna be at that meeting anyways, might as well
Yeah.
just kind of table it until then so that we can hash anything out in between now and then.
Sounds good to us. Thank you.
My only other question is, I know that the 679 Main Street was a discussion item farther down on the agenda. Is that something that you needed my attendance at? It was a 6-month update. But we submitted a letter. I just didn't know if you needed me for that.
Can you give us a quick review of where you stand? Or I guess I should ask the board to ask that. Never mind. It's not. That was an item under other business. As a project update, they were to come back before the board 6 months from their approval.
Well, you know, if it is not inconvenient, since you all are coming back anyway on the 13th, I
Yes.
would say let's do it then so that we can do the comp plan update and not have either you or Alan having, and his team having to stick around while irrelevant stuff went on. If that makes sense to everybody. If it doesn't, then sure, we can hear it tonight, either before or after the agency presentation.
Whatever.
Thoughts, anyone?
I think if Philippe is good with going to the May 13th, that sounds great because we have a ton to get through tonight.
So that was just a 6-month update. If there's any specific questions from that letter, I can, speak to Jeff about it, but those are the condition. And that's all
Yeah.
we were trying to
Well,
address.
I'm sure we'll want to hear what's going on. It makes more sense to do it in May than to do it tonight.
Okay, absolutely fine. Okay, thank you.
Okay,
We'll do it
thank
then.
you.
Great, thank you, everyone.
So with that, Alan and his team are here. So I would say let's go out of order, and we told them 7:30, it's 7:30.
Yep, yeah, it's coming, it's coming. Oh. Alan, you should be all set. And
Fabulous.
there it
Um,
is.
It's so good to be with you all again. Thank you so much for your punctuality. I do appreciate that. My name is Alan Penniman. I'm Senior Planner with Agency Landscape and Planning, the lead consultant working on the comprehensive plan update. And I'm joined by my colleague, Jamaica, who I'll ask to introduce herself. Jamaica. Oh, those, yeah, unmute privileges.
I did. She
Oh,
should be
awesome.
okay.
Hi,
Yep.
hi everyone. Nice to meet you all. I'm an associate urban planner at Agency. Excited to be here for the journey.
Yeah, and I'm really glad Jamaica was able to join. A lot of what you're about to see, Jamaica is working behind the scenes to get ready for you all. You might recall we gave you a little preview back in February. It was snowing then, it's still snowing today, but it's going to warm up soon. We're happy to present the full draft goals and recommendations to you ahead of our public open house tomorrow. And then also just to set expectations, we're hoping to come to you in I think June or July for a presentation for approval. So this essentially is it's the draft. It's an opportunity for y'all to comment, give feedback, and that'll give us another month or two to take your feedback and cross our T's, dot our I's, and get it ready for a formal presentation. So without further ado, I'll pull up the deck. I'm going to try to move through this really quickly. It's a lot of content, so I'll move through it quickly, and I'm going to pause sort of section by section and open it up for conversation. Okay. So just to set the table a little bit, to get ready for this moment, we spent the better part of a year engaging the community. We did a lot of pop-ups, meeting community where they naturally gather outside of places like Key Foods, the Senior Center. We had 3 open houses, one of which was at the Holyoke Public High. We popped up at Fiestas Patronales, the Medical Center, Springdale Park, the library, on and on and on, so on. That produced a lot of really informative ideas and helped us prioritize. We also wanted to make sure we included youth voices. We had a really successful workshop at the Y. You can see the mayor with the roughly 30 or 40 youth that showed up and had some really interesting opinions, which sometimes agreed with adults, sometimes didn't. All of that was baked into the process. We also held a series of focus groups. We met with Nuestras Raíces, we met with departments like DPW. We have a comprehensive plan committee comprised of community leaders and business leaders who we've met with 4 times. And then focus groups with the city officials as well. So all those photos are represented in these little squares here. So over 3 phases of work, first listening and learning, then taking the lessons and translating them into aspirational futures. And now we're in that 3rd phase, identifying implementation pathways. So this is showing you how all of that engagement has led to this sort of final stage of the plan, really critical, and we're excited to get your feedback at this stage. Tomorrow, we're going to be holding the open house in the public library where the Sante Graziani mural depicts the original design of Holyoke, which arguably is its first comprehensive plan. As you know, Holyoke is a planned city. It has a tradition of planning, and our task is to plan for the next iteration, the next decade or so of evolution of the city. Our working vision statement is that Holyoke is growing towards a clean and green future, leveraging its renewable energy and environmental beauty to offer economic opportunity, access to education, healthy, safe, and joyful quality of life, and housing for all. Holyoke is assured of its future, vibrant, inclusive, and modern. So the way that this is structured, all of that engagement that I showed you culminated in a collection of ideas. So working from the bottom to the top, we really rooted this update in the ideas that we heard about, and we organized them into themes, which capture the priority issues that the comp plan should address. And for each of those themes, we developed a series of goals, which describe desired outcomes within those themes. And then finally, at the top, we get into the strategy. What are the specific actions that we can take in order to start realizing the goals? We condense all that into 4 themes. Holyoke is ready for business, safe and compassionate, livable and welcoming, and sustainable and connected. And our wonderful colleague, Eleanor, who you don't have a chance to meet yet, but produced these beautiful posters, which will be the focus of the public display at the library between now and late May. So starting tomorrow, they're going to go on display in the lobby, and we'll have a feedback feature, and we're going to celebrate these at the open house, which I hope you will come to, and I hope you'll bring your network, tell people about it. It'll be tomorrow, 5:30 to 7:30 in the community room. And, oh, I should mention, we have a Zoom option as well. For folks who can't make it, we'll have a Zoom link, and you can tap in that way as well. So, this is Zoom meeting, so unfortunately, there's no food at this meeting, but there will be food at the next one. Tomorrow, we're going to start with a presentation about that first theme, Holyoke is ready for business. And so I wanted to start with a call to action and recognize a lot of the successes, the recent successes that Holyoke has realized from the Green Computing Center and the way that that's been leveraged to attract more clean tech through some of the adaptive reuse of the mills. Really exciting stuff and good momentum builders, while at the same time, some challenges persist. Poverty is an essential one, public safety or perception thereof, so on and so forth. So to realize this potential, we just want to sort of state the importance of having a serious commitment to economic development, providing a friendly business environment, and ensure that the city is safe and clean for residents, workers, visitors, and businesses. So the first goal within Ready for Business is an ecosystem of economic development initiatives to foster specifically the clean tech industry. This is already happening with Sublime Systems. It can grow with startup incubator space, and specifically developing a food product storage and distribution facility will fix a missing link in the vertical distribution economy of Pioneer Valley. Gotham Greens is one example of how that could happen. Providence, Rhode Island landed plant there. So something similar in Holyoke would go a long way. Second, workforce development for all Holyokers. So strengthening the pipeline into the local workforce between students and local employers. This is already happening with the community college, with the Culinary Institute, with Springfield Tech, etc. But that's something that we want to elevate that importance and redouble it, having tangible career pathways so that we can build, we have wealth building from within, we can create pathways to the middle class for existing Holyoke residents. Third, a world-class ecosystem for small businesses, entrepreneurs, and startups. E4All is doing this work. How can we scale it up? We've heard the need in our interviews for a one-stop shop for businesses. So if you're really good at baking cupcakes, but you're not necessarily a developer or know the ins and outs of business licensing, you have one place to go to help you navigate that so you can focus on your cupcake recipe. It also has to do with space, so making sure that there are market-ready spaces for startups, and also building partnerships, things like that. And we also wanted to just raise up, we know there's some organizing work around a high street business improvement district, which will help with the clean green aspects. We also need strong governance. When it comes to economic development policy, we need to make sure all departments are aligned. So, if you have a situation where, one department is really helping a business get through the red tape, but another one is, really kind of bringing down the hammer on, I don't want to pick on anybody, but just to make sure that everybody's role in making economic development happen is aligned under this vision of sustainable economic growth. A big part of that is filling funding gaps. This article, which is probably too small print for you to read, but is describing the role of gap financing and incentives in landing Sublime systems. And on the right, you can see a list of local development incentives in place right now that can help fill gaps in a typical development pro forma. I mentioned market-ready sites and buildings. That's really critical. We think one of them is the former Mount Tom coal plant, and how this can be the next frontier of clean tech manufacturing siting. So it can be subdivided into industrial scale parcels. It's serviceable by rail. It's serviceable by the highway. It has minimal interference with residential frontages, etc. So a really exciting opportunity there. So we're thinking about pre-construction work to get the site ready, to clean it up, to make sure flood and natural resource protection happens, etc. And then zoning. I know we have zoning nerds in attendance, so we thought a lot about zoning, and particularly business zoning, and trying to streamline it and think. We have many zones right now, but as a starting point, what if we thought about them in 3 general categories? So zoning first for neighborhood businesses, spaces like Main Street, which currently is on Business Highway, but really was designed and perhaps ought to serve more as a walkable, Main Street environment that's pedestrian oriented. Downtown business, kind of based on the BC zone we have today, just attracting job centers, regional clusters, culture and entertainment, etc. And then third, arterial businesses. Cars are a big part of life. Shopping malls are important. Is there a way that we can, streamline zoning for areas like Whiting Farms Road, Kmart Plaza, the mall? So it's a little bit less of a hodgepodge and a little more predictable for more car-oriented areas. So here's a look where those 3 general zones might go. So in the sort of cherry red, the neighborhood zones around places like Dwight Street and some key nodal intersections. In the deeper rose red, downtown business zone, effectively where it is today. And then as we zoom out in the pink or magenta, we sort of see where the more auto-oriented arterial business zones could perhaps go. The mall falls into this category, and the mall is doing just fine. But as we see around the country, you know, it is a tough time for retail, and a lot of malls are thinking about more mixed-use environments. Is an opportunity to partner with the mall to introduce housing, introduce other uses beyond retail to help spread some of their risk, but also introduce you know, more customers, more of a tax space, more of a diversity of activity throughout the day. Here, looking at economic assets and opportunities, we've identified several sites. I won't go through them all right now, but these are really key opportunity sites adjacent to large employers, clustered with green businesses, et cetera, et cetera. So these are 11 sites that we really have our eyes on as potential first steps for market readiness. So I just blazed through these goals. We talked about an ecosystem of economic development initiatives. We talked about workforce development. We talked about an ecosystem for a small business. We talked about the role of governance. We talked about site readiness, and we talked about zoning. So I'll pause there for a bit of discussion. I can go back to any slides that you'd like to see, but I'd love to get your general reactions first. So what did you think about what you saw?
I've been going to this meeting, so I'm seeing the progress little by little. So it's good to see it again, but I've attended a couple meetings.
Alan, can you just sort of specify at what level of, you're showing us a certain level of strategies, but by the time we get to the final, I'm assuming there's going to be a lot more detail to the strategies. What would your like, what's your estimate of like, oh, here we're at a, like, we're seeing 10% of the strategies, or we're seeing 30% of the strategies, or what kind of detail are we anticipating?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'd say we're at the section header level, right? Like I think we've already defined the chapters
Yeah.
and the titles, and we're getting down to the section. We want to confirm that we have the right section titles, and then the next step will be to write the prose, if you will.
Okay. Okay.
Just
Because I was just, you know, being one of the zoning nerds here, such as it is, you know, and being in that kind of environment here, I just wanted to point out, like, we had talked about, for instance, if we're going to have this proposal of 3 different business zones, we had talked about creating basically some design guidelines so that people would know, so that included in the final plan is going to be like not just the text, but this is what it kind of looks like, which I
Yes,
think will be really helpful.
100%. And we've hidden some of that. There's some detail around like parking and signage, which we felt maybe wasn't the right content to show at the public open house.
Yeah.
And then we've included other details, like a bit later, you're going to hear about accessory dwelling units. So some of that prose or paragraphs are starting to be filled in, but I think once we confirm that we're on the right track, or if we need to make some adjustments, then I think that's when we'll flesh out the rest of it.
And just as a background comment, you know, I did manage to get to the committee meeting this afternoon, and I found it really heartening to see the degree to which what's here was a springboard for what seemed to be really useful discussion among community leaders about specific things that had to be addressed or what we could do to move toward the goals. So it was useful to me to see it as it were a working document and not just a theoretical, okay, what are we emphasizing here? You know, in a kind of planning vacuum.
Yeah, 100%, Mimi. And maybe I should have mentioned that at the intro, but you know, a goal for this document, when it becomes a physical thing, is to help this board, to help you know, Jeff and others, you know, in the city departments, et cetera, to be able to do their work, whether that's, you know, zoning reform or trying to attract an employer or, you know, forming a partnership with a foundation to fund a project. The idea is that this comprehensive plan physical document can be a tool to help that advance that work.
And I'm still like contemplating, but I think the degree to which we can tweak the final product in that direction, you know, it would be nice to be able to do that. And I think we can. Like, for instance, you know, I'm not sure, I'm checking now, whether I'm going to be able to make tomorrow night's meeting because I might have a conflict because I'm on the review committee for the wastewater treatment contract proposals. But one of the things that came out today was that we're having a certain amount of trouble with infill housing because there are places where you can't connect to the sewers because they're so old. And, you know, knowing that, we can come back to our bidders and say, you know, how are you doing with mapping where there are these problems? What can you offer us by way of getting those neighborhoods to a point where, yes, people can connect to the sewers? Because that would remove a huge blockage to infill development.
No
And
pun intended. Sorry.
yeah, hey, I just say this stuff, I don't listen to it.
Yeah,
but-
that's sort of amazing. Actually, yeah, I think that's exactly the type of advocacy we really need, because it's and like you said, it came out of discussion earlier today, and it's it shows the relationship between the importance of like basic infrastructure and the ability to realize some of these goals around housing.
And you know what I'm thinking in an inchoate kind of way is that as we move toward the final draft and we're writing the prose, we can use that kind of guidance to show other departments of the city how to use the plan, as it were.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, we will keep that in mind and make sure as we finish this out, we'll keep those use scenarios in mind. But let's keep it moving because I know we're getting late into the evening. The second theme is Holyoke that is livable and welcoming. The first goal here is to think of to continue to make downtown an even more sought after place to live. Also today, I heard the figure thrown out to grow Holyoke's population back to 60,000. We're at 40,000 now, to get it back to 60,000. Part of that is making downtown a sought after place to live. Through zoning, perhaps rezoning to DR, downtown residential, can make it easier to introduce new housing types, as are illustrated here. Some smaller apartments for singles, young professionals, as Kendrick Place has done in Amherst, Mass, as well as row houses for families, larger units. Even ADUs can fit here as well. This is just off Dwight Street, where one of the sample tiny homes was located. Second, to think about Main Street in South Holyoke, to restore that as a walkable neighborhood center. I mentioned it's zoned a business highway, but what if we brought it back to its original design as a walkable commercial center, involving some infill development in some of where buildings used to be, and then reactivating those upper floors. Yes, as residential, but also what about live work, studio, and workshop space given the proximity to industry? North Street in Pittsfield, Mass, I think offers a really good example of how this can be done well. So we can model off that, and also want to connect into some of the regional trail and canal walk ideas, which you'll hear about a little bit later. Speaking about accessory dwelling units, we've taken inspiration from the casitas tradition of Puerto Rico. This idea of a tiny backyard house, which we've seen what has been done in the South Bronx over the past 2 or 3 generations, sort of adapting that building tradition into a sort of DIY community space. Some of these have been turned into gardens, some into jam session studio spaces, and as they become more recognized by the city, on the right, you see the city partnering and bringing in high-end architects to design even more beautiful spaces. So is there something we can learn from that tradition as we develop design standards for casitas or accessory dwelling units now that it is mandated at the state, and we need to update the zoning ordinance to comply with it? We can take some notes from other communities like Tucson, Arizona, which has a pre-approved accessory dwelling unit catalog. So there you can log online and you can choose any of these designs. So let's say you like the Casita Sama, you can take that, you would pay a commission to the architect who designed it, and then you'd have a pre-approved design that could be given to a general contractor to construct. So that's some things that we're thinking about. We're aware that financial assistance might be necessary to get the average homeowner to be able to afford to do something like this. Boston, Massachusetts is experimenting with that right now. So some pretty exciting ideas about how accessory dwelling units could be brought to scale in Holyoke. Jamaica, who's on the call, did some really exciting work. We were thinking about, okay, how does this actually, fit with the Holyoke vernacular and architecture? And we identified 4 general areas. The first being casitas in exurban areas, so more to the west side of Holyoke, where you have large lots, a lot of space for gardens and separated structures. Then on the right, in the more suburban areas, just on either side of the highway, maybe you could have an attached ADU that has a separate unit but shares a party wall. Maybe you convert your garage into that second unit. And then as you get into the highlands and the lots get smaller and denser, things like above garage ADUs start to make a lot of sense. We actually see a couple of examples of this off of Pleasant Street, which provide a really nice model. And then in the many quirky, odd-sized lots, particularly in greater downtown, we could think about attic units or garden units as a way to provide ADUs. Here's a map showing where those 4 types might be located. So in the lighter shade of yellow, more to the west, in the more exurban area, then getting into the middle shade, the suburban, and then the darker shade, the Highlands Casita, with some examples of attic and garden casitas in South Holyoke and the Flats. We can't forget about the buildings we already have. So we're thinking about preservation, rehabilitation, and adaptive reuse of historic and obsolete buildings. On the residential side, we're really inspired by the Providence Revolving Fund, which is basically a 0% revolving loan to help homeowners cover the cost of restoring a property to historic standards. And then for commercial buildings, yes, at the state, we have things like HDIP, Housing Development Incentive Program, but what if there were a local tax program as well, kind of similar to the Massachusetts TIF? We can get into those details later, but to help our commercial structures breathe a new life. We heard a lot about affordable and healthy food. So we've set this goal around providing that, especially in schools and neighborhoods. Potentially could be achieved through a Healthy Bodega initiative, but also parks too, which relates to another goal of stewarding parks and open spaces to meet the needs of residents, both outdoor programming, growing green food, that sort of thing. And then, as I have alluded to twice now, I'm connecting to the canals and the riverfront. So in the living and walkable theme, the proposed goals to be set are making downtown a sought after place to live, restoring places like Main Street as walkable neighborhood centers, crafting design standards for casitas, like Kate was asking for, preserving our existing structures, providing healthy food, and stewarding our parks and open spaces. So I'll pause again there and open it up to questions and reactions.
And I just want to say, please just jump in anytime. And my one footnote to this is that the discussion today, among other things, did emphasize the need for us to do something about our reputation for dangerousness downtown. And there was some good discussion around that. And there are obvious challenges that everyone present seemed to agree to. But at the same time, there was a lot of enthusiasm about the potential for downtown. And, that was nice to see.
I think one thing that came up, and I think this undergirds all of this, and you talk about it here, but I think it bears like focusing in on, is the funding for this.
Yeah.
The different ideas about how to fund it, because everybody was really excited about all these ideas, but unless people can get the funding to do it. So I think we have to really lean into the possible innovative mechanisms for funding this kind of development.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's hard right now because, of course, everything has been tossed in the air.
To be clear too, many of the ideas would not necessarily cost Holyoke a dime, right? So like the revolving fund, for example, to preserve historic homes can be endowed with a grant from a foundation. You could start with $100,000. Maybe 500,000. That's enough money to cycle, from homeowner to homeowner to replace windows or lintels or something. Replace a roof, something like that. It's basically just money that's sort of borrowed and cycled through. Some of the tax ideas that are discussed here briefly, it doesn't cost anything. It's just foregone potential income that would build up into the future.
Yeah.
So anyway, we can get into those details later, but definitely we are thinking about the funding piece and aware that especially in this political climate, we can't actually expect money to be falling from trees. As much as I would like to be shaded under a money tree, as my favorite rapper Kendrick Lamar says, I don't think that's in the cards. So let's keep going. Want to get into the third theme, Holyoke being sustainable and connected. So here's where we get into fun things like sewers and all that. And there's a green and a gray side of infrastructure. And beginning with the green side, one goal here is that there are abundant green spaces in Holyoke that already exist, and they help to reduce climate hazards. So not all of the wonderful green spaces are necessarily protected. We'd like to propose a natural resource protection overlay district, similar to the water resources protection overlay district, but to include natural resources in general. We're also thinking about a zone for parks and open space. We're thinking about green stormwater infrastructure and continuing some of the really nice tree planting work that's already underway on places like John Street. On the gray side of things, we know Marriott DPW is already working hard to separate sewer and stormwater systems. I think we can add a piece here about having inventory of sewer replacements to understand where we need to invest in lines so that it can accommodate new development. We've heard about capacity issues as well. So it's about a sewer separation, but also about quality and capacity. This map shows where that natural resources overlay district could potentially go in the sort of medium tone green. And then the spring green is showing cemeteries, parks, and other open spaces that could be protected through zoning. And then on the right, you're seeing priority areas in blue and green, respectively, where green stormwater infrastructure really would make the most difference because these areas are, prone to flooding. And then in green, where you have a lot of pavement. So adding to the tree canopy would do a lot to reduce the heat island effect and, provide more comfort and safety for folks like our seniors when it's hot in the summer. Second, on the connected side of things, frequent, reliable, and dignified transit service. We're inspired by what Merrimack Valley Transit has done, comparably scaled, comparable economic conditions, and they've done a lot of work to increase the frequency of buses, increase the navigability. This is an economic development tool. You know, folks get off their shifts at the mall, and they need a way to get home without a car. So definitely, you know, transit is going to be a big piece of Holyoke's future. But so is walking, biking, scooting. So safer and people-oriented streets. You know, there is the bike ped plan on the books. There's some ideas around Maple and High Street. So just thinking about ways to integrate complete streets upgrades into capital improvement plans. So we can make incremental changes in the built environment to make it more pleasant to get around. And then I've been alluding to the Greenway network. So really, we recognize that Holyoke has a potential for a world-class, like we don't use that word lightly, a world-class canal walk and greenway. We have a good start with the canal walk. It could be so much more. It could connect into the existing trail and the Chicopee side of the river, connect up to Northampton. Getting across the river is a challenge. So we like to introduce this idea of a marsupial bridge. So a bike and pedestrian bridge that hangs below an existing bridge as a way to connect us across the Connecticut River. So that would happen underneath 391 and the Mass Pike, and allow us to create this loop, which you're seeing in the dark green, connecting the mall, the reservoir, community college, Anniversary Hill Park, etc., then back into downtown, extending that canal walk, so that Holyoke is plugged in to the entire partially existing and proposed bikeway up and down the Pioneer Valley. Getting into the more hard infrastructure, another goal is to, you know, continue to be powered by renewable, inexpensive, abundant, renewable, and locally controlled utilities. This is already a reality, but it can't be overstated how critical it is to Holyoke's attractiveness, to industry, the affordability for homeowners when it comes to utilities, et cetera. It's really a huge asset. And so is the wastewater treatment plant. We tend not to think about these things, but they're pretty critical, and there's a lot of capacity. Revenue could be generated, energy could be generated from this underutilized resource. Tend not to think about freight rail as well, but the folks at Pioneer Valley Railroad will tell you how unique and locationally advantageous Holyoke is to have a workforce trained in manufacturing, walking distance to rail serve industrial sites. It's really a huge advantage to attracting new business. Westfield has done this with the James Hardie plant opening last year. They built a rail spur, so they ship all of their siding to market via CSX and Norfolk Southern without any trucks on neighborhood streets, anything like that. And Holyoke really has potential to do that as well. So in this section covers a lot. So abundant green spaces, separating sewers, transit, safe for people-oriented streets, the canal walk, our renewables, our clean energy, and our freight. So sustainable and connected Holyoke. Any thoughts or reactions on that section?
I feel like every time we talk about the freight rail, I realize that there's another location for freight rail in town that I wasn't thinking about before. It's like, so for me, it would be really useful at some point. I know you're not going to have this together for tomorrow, but to have a graphic map showing all the different locations where we're talking about being able to use freight rail.
Like all of the potential sites that could be served by
Yeah,
it.
because it seems like we're talking about like the Mount Tom coal plant area. I mean, and I'm guessing that means building a spur off the main rail, maybe, but it's already there, right?
Yeah, yep.
There's the stuff that's coming in sort of on the west side of the mall. There's at least one. There are a couple, the rail runs through different places in downtown, but I just don't have the bird's eye view of where all of those locations are, and I think a map would be really helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. We can get that into the final plan. Yeah, and Jamaica, maybe we could actually combine that with our opportunity sites map so you can see where all that goes. Anyhow,
Yeah.
great suggestion. All right, well, I'm going to keep going because the fourth section is pretty short, so we can group comments with the third and the fourth together. So safety has come up a lot. We didn't want to start with safety, but it is imperative nevertheless. It really affects business friendliness, it affects livability, it affects social sustainability. So we think that it rises to the importance of a theme. Heard a lot about it. Holyoke needs to be safe and compassionate. There's a couple ways or a couple components to think about here. So we think that one key goal will be high quality sought after public education. Congratulations to Holyoke Public Schools for coming out or about to come out of receivership. It's a new day in public schools, and it's a fantastic opportunity to turn the page and families who have choice to encourage them to take another look at Holyoke and send their kids there. West Philadelphia offers a lesson here. They were facing similar challenges in the 90s. The schools were terrible. Violence was a big issue, etc. And through a very strategic partnership and investment campaign involving one particular school, but also involving safety ambassadors. So a second goal here is context-specific first response. So community-based first responder services for folks who are experiencing crisis, particularly nonviolent crisis, to connect them with the services that they need, but also to remove negative social behavior from public areas that are negatively affected by that. So by combining these types of social services among other tools in West Philly, it transformed the neighborhood into a haven for raising families, a very healthy social environment. So we're kind of thinking of that example as Holyoke emerges from receivership on how we can make high quality public education a calling card to attract folks, to attract families to the city and keep them in the system. Another key component is easy access social programs. This map is showing the components of what planners often the term they use, environmental justice areas. So a combination of folks who have limited access to income, who may face discrimination based off of race or language barriers, etc. And then in all of the symbols are showing different services that can help ameliorate those conditions. Education, food, resources, health, and after-school programs. So you can see that the services are pretty well co-located with the populations of need, which suggests that access, there might be some other components to that. And one of them we're aware of is, feeling safe and comfortable to access services in the language that's comfortable to you through an organization that's trusted. And a lot of this is already happening, with organizations like Enlace, Nueva Esperanza, etc. So really looking at that model to make sure we're connecting individuals to the services that they need. And then also a clean, safe, and vibrant downtown. I mentioned the bid or the proposed bid earlier, that's a big component of this. And also just quickly resolving complaints about nuisances and blights, and if you call up and you see some illegal dumping or there's, some nonsense going on your block and you don't get taken seriously or there's no response, it's very discouraging. Whereas if the city responds to that quickly, it starts to send a message that, this place is taken care of and the city is very responsive. So we'd like to encourage that as well. So safe and compassionate Holyoke means high quality education, context-specific first response, easy access to social programs, and a clean, safe, and vibrant downtown. So that's where we are. Just to close it out, as I mentioned, we're in the third of 3 stages of this work. We're identifying implementation pathways, and we have this exciting open house tomorrow where we'll give this presentation and we'll have a bit more time to have a broader conversation with the general public. We hope that you'll come. It's also, we're going to launch the poster exhibit that I mentioned, so that's going to be super dope. Come check it out. But with that, I'll close it out and open it up to any questions, conversations, or reflections by Kate and others. Thank you very much for your time.
Well, thank you. And I will just second that. Anybody has any comments they want to make at this point, or just open anything up for discussion? No, we have a chance now. And, I know it's late and I know it's a long agenda, but this does matter. So do not feel bad about taking the time if you've got anything that you want to bring up now. And I'm not seeing anything or anyone. So possibly everybody just needs to go away and think about this. I think I said what I had to say earlier and, this afternoon.
Mimi, we'll have an online survey that's going to go live tomorrow. So if folks want to sit with us on their own time, review the presentation, and comment that way. We welcome you to do that on your own time. And also, if you do go to the library, there'll be a physical analog way to comment as well. So this isn't your last opportunity to comment, and we'll take feedback right up until the end of the project.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, and
Okay, thank you.
speaking for like myself and Mimi being the people who've been going to the weekly meetings about this, I think for me it was just really important to have Alan come and talk to the whole board, because we've been sort of taking those planning board spots in meetings, and other folks can't come to them because of open meeting law. So, we really wanted to make sure that the rest of the board felt like up to speed and aware of what was going on. So, thanks Alan and Jamaica for coming.
Thank you all so much. I'll hopefully see you tomorrow, and I'll also see you in June or July for the formal presentation.
Great. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, back to regular order. Does anyone remember whether we did the parking reduction for Holyoke Housing Authority or whether I interrupted us before we got to it?
We finished all the Holyoke Housing Authority stuff and we left off at the self-storage.
Right. And Kate had suggested that we go directly to the Holyoke Housing Authority ANR.
But we can wait
But-
till ANRs. It's totally
Yeah,
fine.
but at this point, I think the increase in fence height is the only other notice of decision item we've got tonight, so we might as well do it. So the increase in fence height for the self-storage facility.
Jeff looks like he's in a haunted house
I
there.
know, huh?
Try and keep my lights off. I don't want to direct attention to myself.
No haunted house. God knows who's wandering around up there who might catch him.
I know, I'm not supposed to be up here.
Okay,
Where the air quality is better than where you're
Then where
supposed
they've moved me to, right? I went from a 0 to an 80. Go team.
Will they yell at you if you start wearing a mask?
No, they probably, well, who knows?
this is not it. Hold on, got the wrong one. Got the wrong one. How about this?
Okay. Yeah, this seems fine to me.
I'm gonna move that we approve the special permit for an increase in fence height for temporary fence for the self-storage facility.
Second,
All in favor?
By roll call vote, Lauren,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Bernander,
yes.
Rosanna,
Yes, ma'am.
and Minnie.
Yes.
Then we would be up to A&Rs.
Right. And we're skipping over the A&R for American Environmental and bringing that back up in May. So the next one is an A&R for Western Massachusetts Training Consortium, Hamden Knowles.
A lot of buttons to push.
Yeah. It's yet another episode in I Hate Google Drive.
A&R for, what are we doing? Western Mass Training, Storage, Line Road, H8 Hamden Knolls.
Each one's in its own individual
Yeah,
folder.
Hamden Knolls, I'm looking, it's right there. Okay. We want to look at the plans, I would assume.
I think we do.
Oh, how's that look?
So basically what we have before you you've got Hamden Knolls, I guess you could say to your north and northwest. They're basically joining A, B, and D all to form one lot of continuous ownership. And obviously it meets all the criteria of the zone. Residential.
So this looks like there's nothing even to be said about it, really.
No, it's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, partially the reason why they're doing it is because part of their driveway happens to fall on the abutting triangular lot, and you can see the dotted line that does the separation there. But it's to basically so that it's one parcel of ownership, and that way the driveway falls on the primary lot.
Well, motion to accept the A&R.
So moved.
Second.
I'll second.
Second,
All in favor?
By roll call vote, Lauren,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Bernander,
yes.
Rosanna,
Yes, ma'am.
and Minnie.
Yes.
Yep.
Mm. The next one will be Holyoke Housing Authority,
Thank you.
354 Chestnut Street.
Thank you.
Nope. It should be in there, but
I had
that's
a-
not it.
I had a 50-50 chance because I saw two. Not going to the casino. It's not the PDF you're looking for. This is the A&R HHA.
Right.
Yeah, there was another plan in here. Maybe it's this one. How about that?
Yep.
Okay.
So if you can zoom in here, thank you. Basically, with the special permit as granted, lot 4, which is to the, I guess we'll call it the southwest of the main property, or where you see the 4 bushes to the middle of the page approximately. That's what they've created within the approval of the dimensional variation. This lot is possible. and would meet all the, well, it would, it would meet the requirements as approved in the special permit.
So we have just basically made this possible earlier this evening,
Correct.
and there's no reason not to approve it. Is there a motion to approve it?
Jeff, before I do that, I'm happy to do that, but Jeff, just explain, it's being currently lot 4 as part of which lot?
Well, it's part of a much greater lot. It's, you'll see the 3 lots, we'll call it page left.
Yep,
That
these are
whole-
already split off, right?
Yeah, so this whole thing is one large lot.
Right.
And it's actually kind of shaped like, I guess you could almost call it a cleaver of sorts, where there's the property from the 23,945, or maybe call it a flag or something, where it kind of goes behind the 2 shorter lots
Mhm.
and then encompasses the parking lot,
Okay,
the right page.
Okay.
right.
so it's just being split off from
Yep.
those. Yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense. It's smaller than the other lots on that block, but it's bigger than the
Lots
right
across
across
the
the
street.
street from it, so
Correct.
I'll move that we approve the ANR.
For a second,
Second,
all in favor?
By roll call vote, Lauren,
yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Gernander,
Yes.
Rosanna,
Yes, ma'am.
and Mimi.
Yes. And that brings us up to the last one, ANR for Callahan, 6 Line Road.
So in this scenario here, you've got Line Road north to the top of the page. Both properties owned by either Callahan or the heirs of. And what they're doing is they're basically transferring that 35,747 square feet from parcel 23D to the parcel to the right. And joining it with that. I believe it had to do with an access and perhaps even a septic or something like that. That was the original intent. Or why they're doing it, but regardless, it you know, out this in this zone requires 2 acres and 200 feet of frontage, RA, which it complies with both. So, it meets the requirements of the zoning and would, you know, recommend that it would be approved.
Okay, well, motion to approve,
So moved.
second,
Second,
all in favor?
By roll call vote, Lauren,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Gernander,
Yes.
Yes,
Rosanna,
ma'am.
and Mimi.
Yes. And that brings us to the second page of our agenda. Amazing, moving right along. And the next thing on the agenda is an executive session. So we ask Jane whether there is any reason to have one tonight.
I don't think so. We'll know more news later this week, so next time.
Okay, well, that saves us a certain amount of time. Thank you. We always appreciate it. Don't go away.
I'm still here.
Right. Quickly, project updates, old business, new business.
So as previously stated under A, that'll be tabled until the May 13th meeting, and that was just a 6-month update as far as whereas Max Storage 679 Main Street currently is, or where it's at in the process or project development. B, just as a point of information, this is related to the Colvest Lynch Citizens Project at 1575 Northampton Street. I received a whole bunch of information and they're trying to get their CO so that the bank can open. But like I said, I just got a bunch of information midweek last week, so I'm in the process of I guess the process of finding time to review it, but hopefully that'll be done by week's end today, week's end, so I can,
This week.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Well, sounds good. So, meeting schedule tentative, we just added some stuff for May 13th.
Yep, the BES and the motor vehicles ×3 I wrote.
37 Appleton.
Right. And we've got the, also we've got the fence 4632 for the Hoyoke Landing, special permit. We've got the environmental ×3. The best discussion that went on the 27th, May 27th, we've got the super fresh continued, but to then reiterate April 15th, we've got the site plan review, Florence Bank, we've, and the multiple principal structures for Colvest, Florence, and then we've got the, continuation of the zone change for short-term rentals.
Yeah.
And site plan review amendment file 149. Oh, that was the Hoyoke Community Charter School. They're looking to put in a sports field, and they're gonna come on that day just to kind of review it with the board as an amendment, and then that way the board can then determine whether or not they feel there's any reason to bring it back to a public hearing or just approve it as that simple amendment.
Okay. Other business, we did the comprehensive plan update already. I think open space and the recreation plan committee, they're just looking for a planning board member, right?
Correct. Yep, so they're gearing up to start the open space plan. It was a midweek last week. I sent you all an email concerning from the Conservation Commissioner, Yoni Glogauer. And he was looking to see if a board member would be willing to participate in the meetings, to be determined time, dates, that kind of thing, but just up front, if there was any interest.
Do we have an idea of what the time commitment is? Like, is this gonna be a year's worth of meetings? Is it gonna be?
I believe based on last time, I want to say it was like 6 to 8 meetings.
Okay.
I can try to text him, or I can get back to you on that. I'll text him right now. Maybe he'll get back to me. How many meetings?
Lauren, if you'd be willing to do it, that would be amazing. I mean, it sounds really interesting to me. I just,
Yeah, I just
Yeah,
want to know what the timer, what the date is and the time requirements, because with the local historic district commission and the my brain just went blank on about the other commission that I'm on.
Well, there's this one.
I just want to make sure, besides this one, I just want to make sure that I can actually make the meetings before I'm like, yes, sure, I'll do it.
Well, I
Okay.
texted him. Maybe he'll get back to me if he's available in the next few minutes, and I can let you know.
Okay, if not, an email works and we can,
Oh,
can
sure.
we talk about it next time.
Sure. Well, because it's only next week at this point, so we
Right.
can certainly add that back in for next week. Thank you.
So- Okay, and the thing that I was asking Jane to stick around for is this came up, and it's a complicated topic. Very suddenly for me toward the end of last week, Mary Monahan at DPW reached out to me saying, hey, there's a question about accepting, I think it's Eager Drive and some other thing where I'm blanking on the name, but it was,
Lynn Ann,
apparently-
yeah.
yeah, apparently some citizens really want their road fixed and found that there was a question about whether it had ever been accepted as a public way.
Right.
And they brought it to probably Linda Bacon back in 23.
Mhm.
It vanished from everybody's horizon, as best I can tell. And we got involved because, Mary started looking at mass law and found that a new public way, once there's an official city map, which Jeff tells me there is, has to come before the planning board to be accepted. and it gets referred by somebody. It is not clear from the statute who the somebody is who's supposed to refer it to us. It was not clear to me whether we have to hold a public hearing or not. I'm hoping not, because there's a 45-day requirement for us to report once it's referred to us, which is barely time for publication.
Right. I know I spoke with Victoria about this quite extensively. So I'm just trying to bring up that email right now. Hold on one second.
Yeah, no, I think she forwarded it to me last night, and I looked at it and I thought, you know, I'm waiting to talk to Jane before I even try to work through the whole thing.
Yeah, so I have a whole trying to find it, like cheat sheet essentially of what we're supposed to be doing. And just trying to find that right now.
Well, while you're looking, just as background for the board, DPW, their commission talked about this last night, and it sounded like this might be a recurring situation because they thought there are a surprising number of city roads that have never been accepted and nobody has ever really paid attention to. So if the city does develop a process that will actually get them looked at, this may not be the last time we hear about it.
All right, so yes, that makes sense. So it is the city council that makes the referral over to you guys. And you have 45 days after the referral to submit a non-binding report, which may be made verbally or in writing to the council. You do not need to hold a public hearing. However, it can be held if it's desired or customary, or required by ordinance, charter, or bylaw. So that's our statute. Now let me just bring up our ordinance on this. And our only ordinance on this is 7881, which says that a petition is presented to city council and then referred to the Board of Public Works. So that's why Mary, the Board of Public Works has it. Mary reached out to you because our ordinances provide that it has to go from city council to Board of Public Works. But under statute, the planning board is also involved and has to do that non-binding report to the city council within the 45 days. And I am happy to share all this information with you.
Okay, that's great. No. But the city council has to figure out some process to refer it to us because the state law does not require DPW to send it.
Oh, that's correct. Yeah, no, it has to be city council to planning.
So how can that be expedited, being that we know what we know with city council before the 45 days? I'm just being honest. We know how they flow.
It should be so is Mimi, I'm gonna ask, do you know, did it come from, has it been in committee yet? Do you know at all? I mean, I can find this out tomorrow, but
No, I actually don't know.
yeah, okay, that's fine.
It doesn't appear that anybody knew.
I'm sorry, I have a child looking for attention. I will reach out to Jeffrey Anderson Burgos, the clerk at City Council, and ask him if he can, because I would think it has to either, I want to find out actually what happened, like how it got to Board of Public Works. Was it a referral to a committee first or directly from the City Council full body? And then I'll be able to get some more information and I can shoot you an email, Mimi, about that.
Yeah, that would be great because my impression was that this is only surfacing again because somebody asked Linda and Linda asked Mary. So
I think actually, I don't know how that process happened, but I know that something was filed more recently, I think even might have been by Counselor Murphy Ramboletti, because
okay.
there had been discussion from property owners regarding acceptance of these streets. So I can get that all to you.
Okay,
Definitely
great.
in an email tomorrow.
Yeah, and certainly it doesn't become an emergency for us until somebody officially refers it to us.
Well, until the city council gets it to you,
Yeah.
correct, right? So that's why
Yeah.
I want to figure out where it is right now and if we need whether we need it back on a full city council agenda for referral over to planning, or if we need it on like whatever subcommittee's agenda. So I just want to figure that out.
Sounds good. And we can work with Jeffrey to put some kind of a procedure in place for the next time this happens.
100%.
In a truly functional world, we could update our ordinances, but as Rosanna says,
Do we have, like, once it gets referred to us, do we have any sense of like how we're supposed to deal with it?
I think you're just, but maybe like talk to no, there is no sense of procedure here. But I mean, from a reasonableness perspective, I would say like, a discussion, having maybe the Board of Public Works, like have them in for maybe a discussion as to what they have talked about. If they see any problems, maybe reach out to the engineer, see if they see any problems with it. And that's all I would say.
yeah, from Victoria's memo, it looks like there are a whole bunch of technical things that the DPW or Board of Public Works or some person with engineering experience and knowledge has to consider. But they're all technical things that seem to be outside of our ambit.
100%, right? Like the city council, if they want to get into those weeds, then they should be having a member of the engineering staff attend and give those recommendations and thoughts.
Okay, well, thank you. That was the answer I was hoping for.
Well, I'm glad I could give you good news today.
And as far as I know, if nobody has anything else to bring up as to projects, new business, old business, then I think we're down to minutes.
We've got, you only got back to me and he said there'll be 4 to 5 meetings for the open space plan.
Yeah, so
That's fine.
I'll write you an email and maybe we can just figure out what days they are. I just
Sure.
don't want to like sign up for something that conflicts with another commission.
Right, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for even checking your schedule.
What's one more commission or board or whatever?
That's what I said when I started the wastewater
You're
thing.
better than me. You see, I kept quiet.
Okay, minutes. We have minutes. And I think, is this something where we should wait for Brianna or?
Well, I do happen to have them
I just
in the
wanted to
queue.
point out that when I looked at all of them, and I emailed Brianna not knowing she wasn't in, but the 6 things we have listed on the minutes aren't exactly the 6 things that were in the file. 5 of them are correct, but I didn't see the March 25th short-term rentals, but I did see a March 11th Holyoke Landing Bass.
Do you want to do the ones that are there, or do you want to table? What's your pleasure?
Well, I'd love to get the ones done that we can. I just didn't know if we can technically approve something that isn't on the agenda.
Okay, so I will.
Maybe Jane can tell us, or do you know?
One more time?
If we have a set of minutes that was not listed on the agenda, can we approve it anyway tonight?
What is our agenda state? Hold on, let me grab it here.
There's 6 listed on the agenda, 5 of which are in the folder, but there's one other one in the folder that isn't listed on the agenda. At
I
least
mean, I don't,
like 2 o'clock this afternoon.
yeah, reasonably, it probably doesn't matter, but because it's not necessarily like it can wait, I guess, like I would just probably defer to the next meeting and when you have it on the agenda, just because we don't want to like have any issues there.
Okay, which one is on the agenda but not in the folder?
The March 25th zone change short-term rentals is not in the folder.
Are there changes to be made to the other ones, or can we just approve as a package minus that one?
The only I just put in a couple comments which were just nothing substantive really, but just some suggested minor word changes. In the case of the 3 that are about 37 Appleton Street, it noted it's really just that they sent in a letter requesting a continuation, and I just wanted to I put in suggested language trying to clarify in the minutes that it was their request for a continuation. It says continuation letter, and so I just put in clarifying language that it was their request for a continuation. And it's maybe we could change the boilerplate on that, but we all know they requested it, but I wanted to make sure posterity understood they were the requesters.
And did
Yeah,
you
I
send
saw
her
that.
those amendments? You
I
sent them
put
to
it
her?
in comment. I didn't send her a
Okay.
message. I put it in comments on the
comment? Okay, so she would get it if you approve it as amended. Right?
Yeah.
She'll get the.
Yeah, it
okay.
should be right there in the Google Drive. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
And the same is true of, I don't even remember the date, but I made one change to a set of minutes involving the short-term rentals thing, where it just said, we continued, and I added a line about, we felt that we couldn't proceed reasonably without Lauren because she had done so much of the work on it. And therefore,
Okay,
and that too, I added it in the Google Drive. If we approve it with that one change, it should show up.
gotcha. Okay. I currently don't see any of those notes, but that doesn't mean that they're not there for her to see. So,
Mine probably wouldn't even show up as a note because I just
okay,
Google Drive. I
okay,
wrote it in. I have no idea whether it's badged as a comment or not.
okay. Okay,
So shall I make a motion that we approve 5 sets of minutes, March 11th, zone change short-term rentals, special permit for fence at 37 Appleton Street, for parking reduction at 37 Appleton, for site plan review at 37 Appleton, and I think it's March 25th, public hearing for Sumo Signs.
Okay.
Make a motion that we approve those 5 minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
a roll call vote. Lauren,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Berninder,
Yes.
Rosanna,
Yes, ma'am.
and Mimi.
Yes.
And noting that the Holyoke Landing Best minutes that
It's
seem
tabled.
to be in that file should be brought back up next week.
Gotcha. Yep.
All right. Is there anything else that anyone needs to bring up, wants to talk about? If not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn, and whoever has 8:50 on their betting sheet wins.
Amazing. I'll
I think
move that
it's-
we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
By roll call, vote, Lauren,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Gernander,
Yes.
Rosanna,
Yes, ma'am.
Mimi.
Yes.
All right. Parker, I liked your cat.
For the record,
Thank
Sharon,
you.
we have not closed this late in our last couple meetings.
So you saved it for me. Thank you.
Yes, I
Yeah.
just wanted to let you know that.
Thank
Sydney
you.
has missed you.
Just for
Good to have
you,
here.
Sharon.
In Sharon's
all right.
honor.
Good
It all-
night. Thank you, Sharon.
Good night. It all came back.
Good night, beautiful people.
Good night.
Right.
Good night, guys. Thank you.